The teenager walked toward the bench without being called. Officer Reynolds stepped forward, his hand instinctively rising to guide the boy back, but Judge Caprio lifted his palm, stopping him instantly. The bailiff froze mid-step. The boy extended a folded piece of paper. His hand shook, lightly at first, then visibly, the paper trembling like a loose shutter in a storm. Caprio received it slowly, carefully, as if the boy's fingers might collapse if he rushed the moment. He unfolded it, he read, and something in his face changed, not shock, not confusion, but something deeper. A recognition of pain that had been hidden too long and finally forced into the light. Caprio read the note again, then a third time. Whatever lived on that paper had stopped the entire Providence Municipal Court. Timestamp 10:17 a.m. Minor approached bench without permission. Hands folded note to presiding judge. Caprio looked at the boy, then at the woman standing at the defendant's table, then back at the note. The woman, Marissa Aldridge, well-dressed, immaculately composed, the picture of middle-class respectability. The boy was her son, Lucas, and suddenly the distance between them, emotional, physical, palpable, mattered more than anything else in the room. No one knew what the paper said, but everyone felt the shift. The air itself tightened like the world was holding its breath. Caprio spoke softly, a voice so gentle that silence bent around it like something sacred. "What's your name, son?" The boy's whisper barely existed. "Lucas." "Lucas Aldridge." Caprio's eyes moved to Marissa. "Your son?" Marissa stepped forward, posture flawless, a ghost of irritation flickering behind her polished expression. "Yes, Your Honor. I apologize for the interruption. He shouldn't have." "Don't apologize." Caprio's tone sharpened. "And don't move." The gallery tensed. Murmurs quieted instantly. This was supposed to be a routine traffic case. It wasn't one anymore. 15 minutes earlier, unremarkable. Completely ordinary. The kind of case municipal courts process by the hundreds. His clerk, Miss Serrano, had called it in her calm, crisp tone. Case 2025 TR0443, City of Providence v. Marissa Aldridge. Charges: failure to stop at red light, expired vehicle registration. Marissa approached the bench like someone who'd been in front of authority before and always won. Polished, polite, perfectly curated. PTA mom energy, church volunteer composure, the brand of confidence that quietly expects exceptions. "I apologize, Your Honor," she'd said smoothly, the right blend of remorse and charm. "The light changed faster than I expected, and I've been meaning to renew my registration. It's been a busy month with the children." Caprio nodded. "Pleasant, professional. Let's see what we can work out." Routine. And yet in the second row of the gallery a teenage boy sat alone, shoulders hunched, eyes glued to the floor, his hands trembling, not from cold, not from boredom, from fear. Caprio saw it instantly. 40 years on the bench trains you to recognize more than words. "Mrs. Aldridge," he'd asked mid-hearing, "is that your son?" Her answer came too quickly. "Yes, Your Honor, Lucas. I'm dropping him at school after this." "What grade?" "Ninth." Caprio looked toward Lucas. "Young man, would you like to sit closer?" Lucas didn't respond, didn't move, didn't blink. "He's shy," Marissa inserted. "You know how teenagers are." But Caprio knew the difference between shyness and silent terror, and Lucas was terrified. In his pocket was a note, written at 2 a.m. the night before, folded, unfolded, nearly thrown away, saved anyway. Because this might be the only moment he would ever be near someone his mother couldn't control. Someone who might listen. He'd never told anyone the truth. He was too afraid. His mother had made sure of that. He couldn't keep the silence anymore, not after what happened to his little sister. The note had 3 sentences, each one a grenade. The moment he stood up, sudden, determined. "Lucas, sit down," Marissa snapped. He didn't. He walked toward the bench. Officer Reynolds reacted, but Caprio raised his hand. "Let him come." Lucas handed over the note. Up close, the trembling was worse, his body shaking under the weight of what he was doing. Caprio read the first sentence. His expression changed. He looked at the boy. "Son, is this true?" Lucas nodded, tears forming. Officer Reynolds straightened. Caprio turned to him. "Escort Mrs. Aldridge to a seat in the gallery. She is not to leave this courtroom." "What?" Marissa barked. "What did he write, Lucas? What did you do?" "Mrs. Aldridge," Caprio said, voice iron. "Do not speak to your son. Sit. Now." She froze. This courtroom belonged to Caprio now. Here is your asterisk expanded 300-word version asterisk asterisk. Same tone, same emotions, same characters, just deeper, more cinematic, more intense. The note, the very first sentence. Caprio lifted the small, creased paper as if it were something fragile, something that might tear under the weight of the room's attention. The courtroom, moments ago filled with routine shuffling and low murmurs, went still. His voice, calm but edged with gravity, carried through the silence. "She hurts us when no one is looking." The words dropped like a stone into deep water. A hush fell, thick, suffocating, pulling every pair of eyes toward the bench. Caprio continued, reading each line carefully, as though honoring the courage it took to write them. "My sister is in foster care because of what she did." The silence didn't just grow louder, it tightened. Even the HVAC hum seemed to disappear. Then the final line. "Please don't make me go home with her." 3 sentences. Short, unpolished, but written with the shaking hand of a 15-year-old who had run out of places to hide. A cry so raw it felt like the air itself bruised around it. And then, like a match to gasoline, Marissa exploded. "He's lying. Teenagers lie. This is revenge because I took his phone. He's manipulating you." Her voice cracked the quiet, sharp and frantic. "Mrs. Aldridge," Caprio said without raising his voice, "I told you to remain silent." That calmness frightened her more than if he had shouted. He turned instead to the boy. "Lucas," he said gently, "your sister, what's her name?" Lucas swallowed, eyes glassy. "Emma," he whispered. "She's 9. "And what happened to her?" Lucas shook, shoulders curling inward as if bracing against a blow that wasn't coming, at least not here. "She didn't fall down the stairs," he said, voice cracking. "That's what Mom told everyone, but she didn't fall." The courtroom didn't breathe. Not a soul. Hospital records. Emma Aldridge. The hospital file for 9-year-old Emma was thin, but devastating. A fractured radius, 2 bruised ribs, facial contusions. Doctors noted the injuries were inconsistent with a single fall. The kind of medical phrase that says everything without saying it outright. A mandatory CPS referral followed. Paperwork was filed. A box was checked. And yet somehow Lucas remained in the home for 10 more months. The courtroom felt colder as Caprio read aloud. His voice had grit in it, gravel dragged across stone. "And no one," he asked, looking directly at Lucas, "checked on you? Not once?" Lucas's answer was a small shake of the head. No words, none needed. Caprio inhaled sharply, the kind of breath taken by someone trying to stay composed. "Lucas," he said gently, "has your mother hurt you?" Slowly, too slowly, Lucas rolled up his sleeve. The room froze, bruises, old ones fading yellow, fresh ones deep purple, all in the unmistakable shape of fingers gripping too hard. A woman in the gallery gasped, hand flying to her mouth. And then, predictably, desperately, Marissa exploded again. "He did that to himself. He wants attention. He's manipulating you." Caprio didn't raise his voice. "Sit down." He didn't need to. The authority in those 2 words could have cracked stone. "The aunt, the one who tried, is there any adult you trust?" Caprio asked. Lucas hesitated. "My Aunt Hannah. She's my mom's sister." Miss Serrano pulled the CPS file. 3 complaints. 2021, 2022, 2023. All labeled unsubstantiated. Aunt flagged for possible personal bias. Caprio's jaw tightened. He called Aunt Hannah, put it on speaker. "Hannah, this is Judge Caprio. I'm here with Lucas." A gasp, then a broken voice. "Is he safe? Oh my God, please tell me he's safe." She confirmed everything. The bruises, the fear, the years of being dismissed. "If I issue emergency custody," Caprio asked, "can you take him today?" Instant. "Yes, please. I've been waiting 4 years for someone to listen." Someone was listening now. Emergency jurisdiction. Caprio stood. This court is recessed from all traffic matters. I am invoking emergency jurisdiction for the protection of a minor. He issued. Emergency protective order, no contact order, immediate custody transfer to Aunt Hannah. CPS summons for emergency review. Marissa's mask shattered. You're destroying my family over a note. No, Caprio said quietly. You destroyed your family. The note revealed it. Lucas stared at him, tears streaming. You mean I'm not going home today? No, son, you're not. A breath escaped Lucas, a sound that was half sob, half relief. What about Emma? You will see your sister, Caprio promised. I give you my word. Aftermath, MONTHS later. CPS investigation. Final report. The final report from Child Protective Services arrived months after the courtroom revelation. Thick, detailed, undeniable. It documented what Lucas had tried to survive and what Emma had been too young to name. Sustained abuse confirmed. The phrase sat at the top of the summary like a verdict of its own. A 4-year pattern, punishment disguised as discipline, injuries dismissed as accidents, fear masked behind rehearsed explanations. Investigators spoke with teachers, neighbors, doctors, and Emma's foster family. Every testimony added another weight to the scale. Evidence overwhelming. Photos, medical evaluations, inconsistencies in Marissa's statements. Lucas's handwritten note, now preserved in the official record. When the findings were delivered to the state attorney's office, the response was swift. Marissa Aldridge was arrested. Charges filed. 2 counts of child abuse. 1 for Lucas, 1 for Emma, 1 count of filing false statements. For the lies told to police, hospitals, and the school. Her bail was set at $50,000. A number that made her hiss with indignation as officers escorted her out in handcuffs. While she awaited trial, the children she had silenced began to rebuild their lives, far from her shadow, finally safe. Healing. Lucas moved in with Aunt Hannah, carrying nothing but a backpack and the kind of silence that makes adults worry. Week 1, he barely spoke. He drifted through the house like a shadow, polite, quiet, always alert. Hannah tried gentle conversation, warm meals, small invitations. Lucas responded with nods, not words. He slept with the light on. Week 2, he began answering simple questions. Yes, no, I'm okay. His voice was soft, as if unused, like something slowly thawing. Hannah didn't push. She just left the door open, literally and emotionally, so he always knew he was safe. Week 3, a shift. Lucas started initiating small conversations. Can I help with dinner? Where do you keep the scissors? What time do you wake up? His eyes met hers more often. He started sitting at the table instead of hovering nearby. Week 4, he laughed once. A real, startled, unguarded laugh at a silly commercial during dinner. Hannah froze, spoon in hand, heart swelling. She stepped into the kitchen and cried quietly where he wouldn't see, overwhelmed with relief that the sound still existed in him. 2 months later, Emma was placed with Hannah too. Their reunion was silent, emotional, unforgettable. 2 children clinging to each other like survivors who had finally reached shore. The legislative hearing. Lucas, older now, steadier on his feet but still carrying the quiet scars of what he lived through, sat before the long wooden table where Rhode Island lawmakers waited. Cameras clicked. Reporters leaned forward. The room was packed with advocates, judges, teachers, and foster parents. He held the original note in his hands, the paper soft and worn from being unfolded too many times. He didn't hide it. He let them see the creases, the shaky handwriting, the rawness of fear trapped in ink. I didn't know how to ask for help out loud, he said, voice steady but soft. I was scared of saying the wrong thing, scared no one would believe me. But he held up the note. I could write it. A silence settled across the chamber, heavy with understanding. If kids had a way to hand a note to a judge sooner, he continued, things would be different. My sister wouldn't have gotten hurt. I wouldn't have been left in that house for almost a year. Kids know when something is wrong. They just don't always know how to say it. His words didn't tremble. The lawmakers voted without debate. The safe voice protocol passed unanimously. Now, any child in any Rhode Island courtroom can request private, written communication with the judge. A simple change, born from 3 sentences that saved 2 lives. The letter to Caprio. 6 months later, a letter arrived at the courthouse. No return address, but Caprio recognized the handwriting. Dear Judge Caprio, I didn't know if you'd read my note that day. I almost didn't give it to you. But then you looked at me and you really saw me. You believed me. That's all I needed. Lucas wrote about life with Hannah, about Emma's butterflies on the wall, about sleeping with the light on but less scared now, about feeling like a regular kid again. Thank you for stopping everything. Thank you for reading the note. Thank you for listening. Caprio framed the letter. Next to it he placed the note. Under both he wrote, "The bravest words are often the quietest ones." Epilogue. Lucas Aldridge is 17 now. The boy who once trembled in a courtroom stands taller, steadier, with a quiet confidence earned the hard way. Every Saturday, he volunteers at a youth crisis center, stocking shelves, sorting supplies, talking with kids who carry the same kind of heavy silence he once did. When the timing is right, when a kid is ready to hear it, he tells them about the note. He doesn't dramatize it, he doesn't need to. He talks about fear, the kind that sits on your chest at night and convinces you no one will believe you. He talks about courage, how it doesn't feel brave at all in the moment, how sometimes it feels like shaking hands and a racing heart and a pencil that won't stop trembling. And he tells them the truth he learned too young. Sometimes all you need is a scrap of paper, 3 sentences, and one adult willing to read them. He keeps a folded copy of his note in his wallet, not as a reminder of what happened to him, but of what came after, because those 3 sentences didn't just expose the truth. They saved 2 lives, his and Emma's, all because someone finally listened.